On Christmas Eve, 1945, in the small town of Fayetteville, West Virginia, a fire rips through the Sodder family home. The fire is intense, the flames rage, but when the smoke clears, the remains of 5 missing children aren't found. Not a single trace. No bones. No ashes. Just empty space where the children were supposed to be. The official story? A tragic accident. But that's where the story takes a bizarre turn. Why were there no remains? Why were key pieces of evidence mysteriously disappeared? And why did a stranger warn the family just hours before the fire? What if the fire wasn't an accident at all? What if this was a cover-up, and the truth is something far darker? Over 20 years later, a shocking photo arrives in the mail, showing a young man who looks exactly like one of the missing children, alive and well, long after the fire. Is this a clue? Or just another twisted hoax? Could the children have been taken that night? And if so, why has the truth been buried for decades? This case is full of secrets the authorities may have wanted to keep hidden. In the next 20 minutes, we'll uncover what they didn't want you to know. Was it a fire? A kidnapping? Or something much darker? Let's dive into the mystery. The Sodder family was like many others in post-war America. George and Jenny, hardworking parents, had 10 children. On Christmas Eve, 1945, their home, built by George himself, was full of life and warmth. The family had gathered for the holiday, enjoying a peaceful evening together. Little did they know that within hours, their lives would be forever altered by a devastating fire. The house was filled with the laughter of the children, with presents under the tree and a festive dinner on the table. Everything seemed normal. But when the clock struck 1 a.m., that would all change. Around 1 a.m., George and Jenny were awoken by the smell of smoke. They rushed to find their house in flames. In the chaos, they grabbed the youngest children and rushed out of the house, but the 5 others were still inside. Despite the intensity of the fire, no remains were ever found. The fire burned intensely, and the fire department reported that everything in the house should have been reduced to ash. Yet, nothing was left of the 5 missing children. No bones. No traces. Not a single scrap of evidence. What could have happened? The fire should have left some remains. Could they have escaped? Or did something more sinister occur? In the midst of the flames, George attempted to rescue his children using a fire ladder and water barrel outside. But when he tried to use them, he discovered both were missing. The ladder, normally propped up against the side of the house, was gone, and the water barrel, used to fight fires, was completely drained. Who took the ladder? Who drained the water barrel? The mystery deepens. Was someone actively sabotaging the family's attempt to save their children? Hours before the fire, a stranger knocked on the door. He warned George that the fuse boxes were faulty, suggesting that they could cause a fire. But here's the problem, there had been no prior issues with the fuse boxes. George had inspected them himself. So, why did this stranger specifically warn them about a possible fire hazard? Was he trying to prevent the fire, or was he planting the idea of a faulty wiring to make the fire seem like an accident? In 1967, over 2 decades later, a mysterious photograph arrived in the mail. The photo depicted a young man who looked eerily like Louis Sodder, one of the missing children. The photograph had been taken years after the fire, and Jenny was left stunned. Could one of the children have survived? If so, how could this be possible? But who sent the photo? And what did it mean? Was this a glimmer of hope or just another cruel hoax? Theories have emerged, and over the years, the case has been scrutinized. Some believe the fire was a tragic accident. But how could the remains simply vanish? Others suggest that the children were kidnapped, their disappearance concealed by the fire as a diversion. But there's a more disturbing theory, that the fire was part of a cover-up. Could someone have staged the fire to conceal something darker, something far more sinister? The investigation was quickly closed, with leads left unfollowed and witnesses left unexamined. Key evidence was destroyed, and the case was effectively swept under the rug. Why did the authorities seem so uninterested in following the case further? Who had the power to suppress the truth? Who was behind this suppression, and why did they work so hard to keep the case from progressing? What did they know? Over 70 years later, the Sodder children's case still remains unsolved. The questions remain unanswered and unaddressed. Was it a tragic fire, a cover-up, or something more nefarious? The mystery of the Sodder children still haunts us all. Could the truth ever be uncovered? The children's fate may never be fully understood. Was it a fire, a kidnapping, or a hidden agenda? The evidence is still out there. But one thing is certain, this case will never be forgotten. What do you believe happened to the Sodder children? Was it a fire, a kidnapping, or a cover-up? Let us know your theories in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more investigations into chilling mysteries.